Hello there. My name is Nekros. I was asked by a very good friend of mine to present that idea for you. Or more of an argument, I don't know. I was kind of rushed here on a short notice. So, the idea which I propose right now is what would make, or what does a great horror game need? And that's a question that's been bugging me lately, for the fact that not many people, or game developers for that matter, really have a right answer. I mean, my answer is my opinion, and my opinion does not need to be shared by everybody. And also, what you're hearing in the background is just Frederick Chopin's Raindrop Pure. Pure. Never really could actually say that word right. So, without further ado, we're going to go on into this theory here. So, for a horror game to be scary, it needs to have fear. Fear being either fear of the physical plane or the metaphysical. By that I mean, are we scared of slashers or scared of paranormal? Not everybody's fear is the same, so it's kind of hard to go with that. Ooh. Sorry, that was somebody's brains coming up. I would actually have to say, though, that the primal fear that's inside every single human being is the fear that a game needs to prey upon. Now, some games do it, whether it be with atmosphere or aesthetics, but not many do it with the physical plane. Mostly, they just don't do it at all, and that's what fails. Now, what I mean by primal fears, I just don't mean, oh, your phobias and whatnot. What I'm actually going on about is basic primal fears that everybody shares. That everybody has somewhat of a fear of the dark. Someone always has a fear of water, in some sense. Fear of the deep blue swallowing them whole. Unable to swim up, their muscles contracting. Unable to breathe, the water slowly inches their way into their lungs as they cough and fight their way up, as they inevitably feel the failure of the situation dawning on them as their death grows closer. That type of fear alone, by an actual game, nonetheless, was kind of fun to watch, was a drowning simulator. I'm not going to go into it or anything, just a small reference. That certain fears like that are in there. And one of the greatest fears I actually have ever experienced, I know of, is the fear of the unknown, is what drives most of humanity. For that matter, up a wall, over the wall, up a tower, just to dive off the tower and end their miserable lives into concrete, just to run from it. Now, there have been wars, genocides, trials by fire, and I do mean by the Salem witch trials. That such unknown fear of witches and such was put to a fevered pitch, and everything was, say, Holy Bible, cross, and fire. Now, with this in mind, there's not really much you can actually put into such a fear. For being a game itself, you can't really put the real live person into it. But what I find to be the most scariest thing about any situation is those primal fears. Have an enemy you have no idea what the hell's about come out at you for the first time. Being, say, the first Resident Evil game out there. The first one. And I'm not talking about the remakes. I am talking about the original one. The very first game to be released. And the first time you fought that zombie, and that zombie wasn't going down easily, that scared you because you had no idea what the hell this thing was, what it was going to do, what it was programmed to do. You had no idea, and that unknown factor made you scared. then add in the aesthetics and such, and it made it a very fearful game. Another video I watched a while back went on about something called a Lovecraftian villain, which I would actually state that is a very good villain, for it's a power that we have no understanding of, nor we have a way to grasp it in any way. Hell, you might not even actually see it at all throughout the entire game, but it might be affecting your character and everything around you. That alone puts me a little bit of an edge. But what really gets me, though, is the fact that you're hopelessly outmatched, outpowered. Now, I'm not talking about being the underdog. I'm talking about putting an entire clip of a submachine gun down range and have nothing fall. To have an enemy that literally cannot die easily. Because I propose a monster, a creature, a certain environment, and such could all bring together these aspects. But what you really need is an actual creature that you cannot understand, nor know the actual effects of it, nor actually be able to fight it. Because what we don't understand as a human race is what actually brings us to the table of fighting something. We have no idea what is. So our first action usually is aggression. Only those with reasonable minds will take an actual step to talk to it. But once it does one action that is involved violent, or perceived as violent in our eyes, all bets are off. Let the guns and the bombs and the missiles fly. So, say you're stuck in a circus. Now, why a circus? Simple, really. What is the most fearful place you can be? You would say an insane asylum, or a prison, or some haunted house. But honestly, I say circus. Because not only does it hit you with a hint of fear, maybe not as great as an asylum would, but it also gets your childhood thoughts mixed up. Something that seems so innocent can be turned into so perverse that as soon as something goes wrong, you're screaming for the high hills louder than anyone in an insane asylum could hear. That's what I like about that. Because if you're going to go to the edge, go to the edge. Teeter off of it and look down into the pit of darkness and bring back something with you. Yeah. So, with the setting pointing as an actual carnival or circus, whatever which one floats your boat, think of it as a maze. A maze of stalls, big fence around the entire complex. You know, good old fun little carnival games, or circus games, or coasters. That very, very poorly contrived machine that spins you around that could break at any second. It reminds me of so many different games, but they always do it wrong. They always try to put the fear within the clown, but that is kind of an old fear, even though it's a logical fear. It's an old one. No. If you're going to do the clown, break it up from the happy drive. Don't put both in there. Put it totally one-sided. Make it a lumbering 7-foot giant with a busted-looking clown face. Nothing but tears and sadness. Like it doesn't even want to be alive at the moment, as it lumbers around trying to kill you in the maze of carnival games and rides. And if you actually manage to kill one of them, lets out a blood-curdling scream, roar type thing, and just attracts every single other one in the entire area to you. That would scare me shitless if I still had a vowel. Nonetheless. Nonetheless, where was I? Sorry, I was thinking about something else. I would say that would scare me shitless. Being unable to fully kill something in time. To have it be warning its other brethren. Have it chase after you. That alone in any type of situation would scare me. Not having enough firepower to take them all on, and if you do, you could probably only kill like one of them. Just makes you feel useless. Makes you feel vulnerable. Nonetheless, I like the idea more than being vulnerable without a weapon. Because being vulnerable with a weapon makes you all the more vulnerable. Makes some weird sense right there. But think of it. What would be more scary? You're fighting a horde of zombies barehanded, or unable to fight them at all and have to run, or fighting a horde of zombies with a gun, but the gun isn't killing them. Even in headshots, they will not go down. What would you be more scared in? Personally, I'll be more scared in they won't go down with a gunshot to the head. Because with option A, you still get the illusion that they're killable, that they're stoppable. But for illustration B, that illusion is cast away. You're unable to imagine yourself actually beating them. You know for a fact they just don't go down, that you have no hope. I wouldn't say no hope, but more like you have no chance with that weapon. That's doing nothing. That's just a gun that can kill a person. Can't kill this thing. This power that's given to me in my hand is unable to end this thing's life. That scares me senseless. You know, the only thing that would scare me more is insanity with a sane face. Let me get into that one there. Basically, what I'm saying is, everyone sees somebody who's crazy, as they are lost their marbles crazy. But what they don't understand is, literally, only a small percentage of people are like that are that crazy. Now, if you had somebody who would act normal but do insane things, who was insane but at the same time could walk into a restaurant, sit down, order food, and not act a single inch out of place. But yet, as soon as he leaves and comes back the next day, he could be so out of place. Like putting on a mask, watching everyone behind porcelain eyes, and just lose it. Let everything be and will be, and everything be. Kind of a weird thought, really. I mean, think of it. Somebody who can kill for the sake of just wanting to kill for no reason but to kill. Because he wanted to experience it. Not because he enjoyed it, not because he hated it. Now his moral fiber could tell him to do it not at all. But he overrides his moral fiber, his every doubt, his every urge, and just does it for the sake of doing. Just to experience that one moment where he has the life of another person in his hands. Now that is a villain that would scare me. Somebody who is willing to go the extra mile just to experience it, just to see what would happen. Someone who's crazy yet has the calm demeanor of somebody who's stable as a rock. Somebody who can look at sanity and madness in the eye and walk away sane as anyone in the world could be. That type of person alone would scare me. For that type of person alone could literally be in control of his entire reality, and not a single thing he does not want will happen. Because he's complete control over himself. He controls his own life, then, like, it's hard to explain it, but it's just, it's like how painters can paint. They can paint with the sadness or aggression or the pain that they have in their hearts, but they always walk away with less for what they put in that picture. The type of person I'm talking about is someone who can go there, do the picture, and not lose a thing. Who can reach that level of insanity, that sadness, that emptiness, and come back whole. Not partial, but whole. That type of person alone is one in a million, and that one person alone would scare me more than anyone else in the world could ever. You know, this is one good question for me just now. Why do we need horror games? Honestly, we just need something to remind us where that line of insanity is, that line of madness, crazy, psychoticness is. It's also a way to show the children of our age things to be wary about, things to be worried for, things to look out for. It's like the golden old days of bedtime stories and campfire stories. Or lessons taught by ancient people holding a Bible for all things. It's those old stories turned new into horror movies that teach the young to be wary of the night. And honestly, they should be. This was Nekros. I'm signing off here, and I appreciate you listening to me. Stay tuned for more. Good night.